Okay, well, let's try and work through a new chunk of work. I guess before I start, let me just show you how things currently work. So this is an app to help people read difficult documents. And here we've got a philosophy paper, and it does all kinds of useful stuff, like, here's a glossary, for example, and you can chat to your document and get summaries and all kinds of other stuff. Okay, so I wanted to add search functionality, and potentially this could be quite rich, but let's start simple. All right, so I'm starting from scratch with this new feature. I'd like to add search functionality and help me think through the requirements for this in detail. So I'm using Claude Code. Oh, actually, make sure that we're using Opus for this. Okay, great. So Claude Code's pretty awful when it comes to copying and pasting. It's probably the worst thing about the whole business. Okay. And then, so what else? What else do I want to say about this? I think we have a plain text field in the documents table. To begin with, maybe we could just find all of the elements that in the HTML document that contain the text, and we'll worry about highlighting the exact text later. Allow the user to search not just for exact text, but for like approximate text or even themes. Maybe it might help to see the database schema. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so I've already got nice docs that describe how the database and UI works, so hopefully this will give it a clue. This will take a while, just to give you a sense of sounding board mode looks like that. Just basically help me think this through. Don't actually start work. UltraThink puts Claude in reasoning mode. This is the UI interface doc that references lots of different. This is all written by the AI. And then, yeah, we've got a nice schema. It's probably the documents table that'll be helping us. Okay. Yeah, a 6th tab in the left-hand pane. yeah, it should show the results in the left-hand pane, a bit like the table of contents, as you say. And maybe, and importantly, you can click on the results and it will scroll to the appropriate place in the documents pane. Use your judgment, some kind of highlight or background color for matching elements. So this is UI UX. Technical. Only the current document. Keep it simple, don't worry about performance. Yes, aim to reuse existing table of contents machinery wherever possible. Let's add a later stage action to discuss how we could map that from the plain text to the HTML. For now, we're just going to highlight the entire element, which simplifies things. Yes, let's add a later stage to consider semantic. Ignore semantic search. Okay. And then we can just say right up. Write a planning doc following the instructions in. Okay, great. And so the nice thing is that this is a detailed description of how I like my planning docs to look. So what we should end up with is a nice document in planning. Somewhere there in a moment. Okay, this could take a little while. So while we're doing that, I might just kick off something else. So I probably won't go into this in detail, but basically we're in the process of, we just added database storage. And so now when it does something fancy like generating a table of contents. So it sends the document to the AI and asks it to generate new headings. We want to store the AI generated. Well, hopefully it should work, but we want to store that in the database. And so we've already got a planning document for that. That's this here. So blah, 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 blah. We've actually done most of it. So I think we're up to, I'm not sure where. Oh, it's interesting. Wrong one. Okay. Yeah, so we're up to here. And so we're just saying, yeah, keep going with that. So that can go on in the background. It'll take a while. All right. And so now, because today's the 4th of June, we've got, it's automatically labeled out document with the date nicely to capture their requirements. I don't even read these very carefully anymore because they're usually right. Okay, so we just tell it to kick that off. That all looks pretty sensible. So I'm just going to kind of trust that that's a good idea and not too worry too much about it. So that's going ahead. So I've got 3 different work trees. If you look in the bottom left, you can see which one I'm in. So let's just label this headings. DB. And then this one is search. And then, yeah, I was just going to ask it to do a quick architecture review of the way that we've implemented the tabs, because I did this in a kind of dumb way. Overly complicated at first. So I'm just asking, you can see, this whole left thing is one component, and I want to make sure it's architectured nicely. Okay, so we'll leave that running in the background. Great, it's using our nice icon stuff. Perhaps it's a good moment to tell you all a story. Okay, so it looks like it's decided that our planning document for headings needs more elaboration. I don't think the do planning doc says much other than it reminds it to only do a single stage, i.e. a set of actions, and it uses tasks and subagents. Tasks is basically like to-do lists, and subagents is where it sort of delegates work to another Claude instance so it doesn't use up its context window. Because Claude running out of context is basically the biggest problem with using it. Okay, so if you remember, this is our tabs architecture. Yeah, the user interface is rubbish. Okay, I'm a bit nervous about this. We definitely do need to improve the way we communicate between the panes, but I don't really understand enough about how React does this. So it never seems to know the date, and if you don't, otherwise it will start looking for documents web page in 2024. Okay, let's see what it comes up with for that. Ah, wow, okay, so it thinks it's done stage one. Tempted just to accept it and see what happens. So for some reason, my hot reloading is not working very well. So let's just restart. Okay, so we've got a search tab. That's exciting. Okay, so we should find critique sum there, but it's not. Okay. But I think it hasn't yet actually done the search functionality. Great. Okay, well that seems reasonable. So I'm going to compact because basically I don't trust Claude to manage its own state otherwise. Context window otherwise. And so the compact will basically clear the context window and just inject a kind of summary of what we've done so far, a bit like what Cursor does, but somehow I feel like it works just a little bit better. And so because we've got our document search and it's already updated it with progress so far, we should be just pick right back up. And it's worth saying there's quite a lot in the Claude.md, which is like a document that automatically gets injected that tells it where to find stuff, coding principles, how the site's organized, stuff like that. So I don't tend to need to actually provide it with much context anymore. Okay, and so there's our summary that's going to get injected of like what it's done so far. So between that and the planning document, I can just be like, yep, carry on. Okay, so search is going well. Headings. So I don't know why, but it always asks me for permission about curl. Every single time. I need to fix them. See what I mean? It's like looking for 2024 best practices. I even said I thought in the Claude.md, but anyway. At this rate, we're going to need more work trees. So I think that's Playwright, which is the browser automation thing. Doesn't work very well, but it's better than nothing. Okay, so we're not going to get excited until the end of stage 3 when it's actually displaying the results. So it looks like our headings auto generation may be working. Yeah, that's cool. So normally that would take a few seconds to load, but now I can go straight there and it's already, that's great. Do we have a, so the nice thing about the planning documents, you can just add actions. Oops, I think I just closed Playwright. Okay, it's nice. It looks like it's actually writing tests for me, which is part of the planning document. It tells it to add stages for tests. I've not actually read any of the tests, and sometimes I suspect they're a bit too verbose, but I have every so often I just kind of tell it to housekeep and tidy them up and trim them down, and that seems to work okay. So here you can see it's using a task, which is basically a sub-agent, because the tests spit out loads of guff to the context, and so by doing it in a sub-agent, we're not using up the main agent's context window too much. So the sub-agent will run a bunch of stuff. You can actually see it if we expand. So you can, well, okay, it's not doing a very good job. There we go. So you can sort of see what's happening and just how big the context is. But fortunately, all of that is hidden inside here. Well, something's going on with the web search. Let's try again. I've never seen that before. Doesn't look good. Yeah, so each work tree has its own local environment variables and runs on a different port so that you can have, yeah. It does seem to be working. That's actually really, really promising. Okay, let's try a new tactic. Let's exit and then you can say, pick back up where I was before. See if that's any better. Okay, so it looks like we finished stage 2 of our search. That's interesting. Oh, that's because this is, so this is where it gets confusing. We are in the second work tree, so we want the 3002. So there's search. Oh, wow. Yeah, so in this paper. Okay, great. And what if we go to, I don't know, there was more. Oh, wow. And it even seems to be updating as we type. Cool. Okay, although I definitely do want it to highlight, because without being able to see the text, it's sort of, you're like, okay, I found it somewhere in this element, but I want to see the exact match. Okay, but that's a pretty promising start. So yeah, commit that. And then as soon as that commit has finished, and it does a nice job, hopefully it's supposed to be, is it now? You see, it's supposed to be putting the planning document in the commit message, but I don't know why it's not. That's annoying. That's supposed to include that. Anyway. Okay, but it is otherwise working reasonably well. So we can see, if we look at our progress, we've done stage 1, we've done stage 2. Now, I guess, well, actually, I think it's even done some of the search results as well. Let's ask it to debrief, which kind of gives us a deeper dive into progress so far. Debrief progress just looks like this. Because sometimes even though I've asked it to stop and tell me if there's a problem, sometimes it's just like, yeah, oh, there was a problem and I fixed it in the following way. Sometimes it's the right way and sometimes it's not exactly what I'd have chosen. So, okay, here's our debrief. Okay, happy days. That seems pretty optimistic. Well, this is really the main value I'm adding here, is just typing compact. Annoyingly, I have to wait until the compact finishes, otherwise Claude Code gets into a weird state. So there's more I could say. I guess we haven't quite got to a real payoff yet because I haven't finished any of the things we started, but they all seem to be going well. So maybe I will just review all 3 and then finish up. Okay. So I guess it's still working on my tabs architecture. Okay, the headings database is still going strong in the background, but that looks like it's going well. All right, so I'm just going to wait for this. By the way, if you would like to steal any of these, I'd encourage you to, and I would love feedback. So I haven't put all of my prompts in here, but there's at least most of them. So yeah, let's continue. And as you can see, the compacted summary is quite good. And then the other place, I'm going to put articles describing this flow in a lot more detail here on makingdatamistakes.com. So if you felt like subscribing, it would be lovely to see you. All right, well, yeah, we've done most of stage 3. Great, so head on to stage 4. Good. Wish me luck, and if anybody would like to be a trial user for Spideryarn-Reading, and you feel like it would be useful to be able to learn about documents and generally sort of have an AI-assisted reading experience, then that would be super cool. It doesn't just work for philosophy. All right, thanks very much for listening.